Is back. Now viewers, let's shift our focus to the development that we are tracking from ISRO's ambitious mission. The twice delayed anticipated space docking experiment, also known as SpaDeX, involving the two satellites, might be happening and becoming a reality very soon, as the Indian Space Research Organization has conducted a trial attempt to move the spacecraft from 15 meters to 3 meters apart at a distance, and the trial attempt to reach up to the 15 meter and further move up to 3 meters is done as per the statement that in fact ISRO has issued, adding that it was moving back the spacecrafts to safer distances. The docking process will be done after analyzing the data. My colleague Belly is joining me for more. Belly, as in fact the data analysis is underway for the ISRO, which has also issued the statement. What is the latest that you are tracking as far as the reality for dominance in the space exploration world for India will be soon?
Simran, the ISRO had successfully maneuvered the distance between these, two satellites from 105 meters to 15 meters and then to 3 meters, after which they had, moved back the two satellites to a safer distance now until, the data are being analyzed. So according to my sources in ISRO, there is something called this signal loop system where, they have to get the data correct, as to which all the favorable conditions needs to be intact for the docking process, or else the signal loop systems will engage the safe mode, which would further take the docking process to a further date. So there are two windows as such, is what ISRO sources says. That is today by around evening, when the two satellites are under visibility from Indian space stations. And there is another window that's on somewhere close to January 14th is what the sources say. So within these two windows, the docking process is to be completed. But as of now, so far, everything looks fine, and the ISRO is in the process of analyzing the data. And they have been successful bringing the target and the chaser within a proximity of 3 meters, where the video monitoring sensors had autonomously deployed, and it had been taking photographs of each. The satellites are in line of sight, and they were safe basically. So ISRO decided that ISRO had said in a statement that it is as close as an exciting handshake that the two satellites can do. And then, the ISRO has put back the two satellites into a safer distance. And now the process of analyzing the data is being undertaken, Simran.
Well, all right, Belly, I'll request you to kindly stay on with us, as in fact docking attempt is likely to be becoming a reality today. Dr. T.V. Venkateswaran, former senior scientist at Vigyan Parasar, Rashid Khan, Vigyan Parasar is joining me live. Thank you very much, sir, for taking out the time and speaking to us. As in fact, the developments that are underway at this point of time, ISRO's first ever space docking mission is an ambitious one, and the world is watching us, in fact, make these milestones. How do you look at the developments? And after two unsuccessful attempts, this is the third attempt and hopes are high. What is your first reaction to this?
Yeah, actually this is an experiment. Please, I think you have to look at that. SpaceX means experiment, right? So when you do experiment, it is natural that you may not achieve what you want in the first go. You may have to do it again and again. Because one important point that we have to remember here is that the technology that is being used in the space docking has been developed ingeniously by ISRO, particularly the algorithms which will make the two craft come near each other, identify, align them properly. See, suppose if I have to go like this, if the spacecraft come like this, then it won't align, right? So it has to align them properly. For all this, there has been some algorithms which have been developed by ISRO. So you need to test all of them, and they have to happen autonomously when you don't control from ground. So in an experiment, this is something which I think we should expect. Even if, suppose, let's say the first attempt ISRO has done it, ISRO would not have been happy, because they would want to know what kind of pitfall can happen. So it's a learning process, it's a learning curve. All these things are not failures, but actually steps towards success. In that sense, we are gathering information, we are understanding how these things will work, what kind of challenges will be there. That's what is actually happening right now.
Well, absolutely. In fact, at this point, both the satellites also captured the images and the videos from the distance of at least 15 meters. And as the statements that we are tracking from ISRO, the docking process is highly complicated, requiring repeated maneuvers to achieve what ISRO has termed an exciting handshake between the two satellites in space. For a common person who's watching us, in fact, breaking this information down into simpler terms, how do you define as to what the merger and the chaser and the target relationship is in the space, and how do we understand it even in more simpler terms so we can also be more connected to this mechanism?
Okay, simple. I mean, I'm sure you would have watched the circus, right? So in the circus, you would have seen some of the acrobats are holding on to a swing and they are swinging, and suddenly they leave the swing and then they jump, and then another acrobat catches them, right? So that is actually docking. That is, you are leaving the swing and then jumping, and then the another acrobat has to catch you in fraction of a second exactly. So you'll have to go to the exact point, that person has to come to the exact point, and then you both have to handshake. This has to happen in the space, and this has to happen autonomously. That's exactly what is space docking. So two spacecrafts are coming together, they are joining. Okay, so it's like two acrobats are holding on hands to each other when they are jumping in the sky. I mean, in the space. That's one way one can look at it as in a very simple term. So it's not easy. I mean, it has to be very precise to really very detailed way in a way. So it's a complex process. So we have to learn this technology. So if you have to learn this technology, you will have to practice. It's something like, for example, when you learn cycling, you do fall a few times, right? Only then you get balance. That's exactly the kind of thing that is happening right.
Well, with the help of that understanding, let's also delve a little bit more on how important milestone this actually registers, given the fact that this mission, this experiment which you are talking about, sir, was launched on December 30th. And the SpaDeX mission deployed two satellites, SDX-01, the chaser, and the SDX-02, the target, via the PSLV C-60 rocket, placing them in a 475 kilometer range in the circular orbit. And on that note also, let's also get my other guest, Rashid Khan, who's a former ISRO scientist on live on the broadcast. So very welcome here and appreciate you joining me live. The historic docking was postponed earlier twice, with ISRO chief Dr. S. Somnath saying it was India's first attempt at docking and that every first attempt has its own challenges. And on that note, when we are talking about watching these very important developments, how do you in fact break it down for the viewers about the challenges that could possibly be also hampering this entire process and how to overcome them? Mr. Rashid.
Okay. Okay. Good morning to everyone. Actually, this docking is defined when we are taking two things together, and then there are two parameters. The important parameters are that particular place and time. That is very important. That particular place and time, that orientation has to match, and at a particular time. Like everything come together, but the orientation is not matching. Then docking is not complete. Or orientation is matching, but the time at what it has to be there, the time is not matching. So basically the docking will be successful when the both space and time is going to match at a particular time. So basically here that we have tried two times, two times for coming, but since this is a fully autonomous things, like if all the parameters are not going to meet, then the docking will not be successful. Automatically it will go to the algorithm, and it will go to the safe distance. And again after that thing, they will try the maneuver, again they will try to come. Actually what is happening, when the satellites had been put in a particular orbit, they are moving with a speed of twice the speed of a bullet. Like you can imagine the speed of 8,000, 7,800 meter per second. And for the docking has to be successful, they have to come with the less than speed of 0.1 centimeter per second. You see how precisely it has to come, how smoothly it has to come. Because if it is coming at a very high speed, it may damage, it will have a collision, it may have damaged both the satellites. So itself docking, it's a very complex process, but itself for everything one mechanism is there, one loophole algorithm is there. Actually what will happen once it is there, again they are going to try. So it is a hit and trial process, and when all the parameters are meeting, it will automatically, the docking will be successful.
All right. On that note, Mr. Rashid Khan, thank you very much for in fact giving us these details, and also to my other guest, Dr. TV Venkateshwar, who is a former senior scientist at Vigyan Parasar. Thank you for in fact adding these details. The docking process will be deemed successful once in fact the satellites are undocked and resume the independent operations. On that note, let's shift our focus to other developments that we are tracking. The Adani